I've always wanted to like General Zod, but he's such a one-note character. He's so relentlessly dedicated to his mission, if you use him more than once, you're rehashing his previous story. Villains who don't have a specific goal are more malleable, because they're not making a beeline to their objective. Not Zod. He's so powerful, very little other than imprisonment or death will deter him. Between Crisis on Infinite Earths and Flashpoint, DC had 4 different Zods, all unconnected. Probably because DC knows it has a popular IP, but when they use him, he's wasted, so they pretend they didn't do that and try again. Clark spent a quarter of a century under a yellow sun to leap tall buildings in a single bound. When Zod comes out of the Phantom Zone, he won't be an unstoppable force. Clark is studying Brainiac's tech when he accidentally opens a window to the Phantom Zone. While Jor-El invented a way to access it, Brainiac already had a way to peek inside. But Clark can't cross the window. After some complicated charades, the guy on the other side indicates he's from Krypton. Clark brings the window to Star Labs. They eventually pull Zod out of the zone. Zod stares at the son of Jor-El and gives him a hug. Clark still can't understand him, but he gets the picture. While Jor-El was constantly butting heads with the Council, Zod was loyal to them. He saw the wisdom of Jor-El's arguments, but the Council are smart. If they denied Jor-El's request, they must have had a good reason. Until Jor-El screams the end is nigh. For once, Zod is perplexed the Council won't listen. He speaks on behalf of Jor-El, but they won't hear it. With the Council watching Jor-El to make sure he doesn't build a giant spaceship that'll scare the public, Zod knows Jor-El cannot save Krypton. So he comes up with a plan. He will start an uprising with some of his followers. If Jor-El says the planet's in danger, it's happening. It's too late to save the planet, so Zod comes to Jor-El's brother Zor, who knows Jor-El is right, but he isn't making a scene, so the Council isn't spying on him. Zod and his followers get thrown into Phantom Zone, along with Zor-El's daughter. Kara is confused. "Father, tell them I'm innocent!" He says nothing. The plan was for Zor-El to build a ship for himself and his wife. They could release Zod and his followers after they found a suitable world to build New Krypton on, but the Council discovered Zor-El's activities and arrested him. Star Labs bombards Zod with different types of radiation. Clark helps teach him English. Zod tells Kal-El he has a cousin in the zone. Clark isn't as scientifically gifted as Jor-El was, but now that he knows how to open the zone, he uses Brainiac's gizmos to find Kara and release her. I've always liked versions of Supergirl that don't see eye to eye with Clark. If your cousin was raised by aliens and met you as an adult, you wouldn't be fast friends. And Kara has complicated feelings about her family. Her father saved her, but she still feels betrayed. And Zod protected her from the horrors of the Phantom Zone. He's been the closest thing to a father she's had for 30 unaging years. Now it'll be no problem evacuating everyone else from the zone. But Clark says, "Hold up, let's talk this out." Zod says there's nothing to talk about. He lost his world, and he saw too late it was the Council's fault. If he had acted earlier, he might not have lost Krypton. But Clark says there are many humans who don't
like or trust me.
And what trust he has, he had to earn. Throwing hundreds of specimens of a new species into an ecosystem will be dicey. Even though they're not as powerful as Clark, how are the Kryptonians going to interact with humanity? And aren't most of them criminals? Yeah, but Zod can't be choosy with who he releases. He only had a couple dozen followers who went into the zone with him. That's not enough to rebuild Krypton. They need every Kryptonian they have to realize Zod's vision. But Clark says, no, this is dangerous. And that's before they get powers. In a generation, they could tear the planet apart. And Zod doesn't want to kill the humans or take their world from them. He just wants to rebuild what was taken from him, and he must work with the cards he was dealt. We don't have a convenient codex to rebuild a species, or a terraforming machine where they can go to Mars and the conflict is gone. In a few decades, the Kryptonians might be powerful enough to survive on Mars, but Zod doesn't have that kind of time. From Zod's point of view, Kal-El is just like the Council. His refusal to bend will doom the Kryptonians. Zod's temper flares and a fight breaks out. After weeks of testing at Star Labs, the fight is closer than you would think. The eggheads were curious. If a Kryptonian gets more powerful under a yellow sun, what happens under white dwarf radiation? Zod has different powers than Clark. Zod is weaker, but Clark pulled his punches. He didn't want to hurt someone still grieving for the loss of their world. Zod and Kara flee, stealing the bottle city of Kandor. Without Kal-El's help, Zod will have to amend his plans. But he knows he must be careful. He knows the legends of the scientist Jack Sur, who bombarded himself with different types of starlight and accidentally destroyed one of Krypton's moons, which led to the stringent policies of the Council. As frustrated as Zod is with Kal-El, he has a point. Hundreds of Kryptonians as powerful as Jack Sur would be apocalyptic. He won't give up on rebuilding what he lost, but he needs to bide his time. With Kara's help, he'll free a couple of his more loyal cohorts, and in time, they will have a people once again. This version of Zod isn't a villain. Even when he sees Kal-El as a traitor, he won't destroy the humans just to spite him. If Brainiac returned to steal Gotham City to start a new collection, Zod would help Earth's heroes defend his home, even defend the humans he doesn't understand. Until Zod figures out how to embiggen Kandor, he and his followers will hide in Markovia and ally themselves with a local power. You can use our powers in exchange for housing and protection. I don't want to go overboard with the Kryptonian survivors. We can have some, don't overuse them, they're weak enough, they don't pose an endless threat threat to Superman. What do you think? Let me know, and stick around in the future for another reboot video. Until next time, have a good one.